What's up, everybody? It's just Coach Justin with Element 5 Springfield coming at you with your at-home basic ski lesson of the day, all levels. So you'll notice that I'm my training partner today. Yeah, school, But I do have Bob here. He's going to help me out like he has in the past. Today we're going to go over, we're going to talk about bottom stuff and some potential attacks that you can use in response to what your opponent is applying to you. There are two specifically. One is a kimura, and the other is a kneebar. And if you've been watching, you'll know I went over a kimura before, but I've never gone over the kneebar before, so that'll be a new submission. And so let's get started. All right. So we're talking about positions where your opponent comes to the side. So like we were talking about yesterday, when you go to turtle, most of the time when you go to turtle, it's going to end up in a position where your opponent is like, your opponent's going to be on the bottom, or you're going to be on the bottom. Your opponent's going to be on top of you with a head and arm control, right? Because if I don't have head and arm control, one or the other, right? So I can go over, underhook, over, or I can go underhook, over. But if I go double under, then they're going to sit out on me. And if I go double over and I don't have this attack done correctly, they can also sit out on me. So, so what we're talking about today is the transition, all right? So I've transitioned to the side. I've gone sprawl, switch, behind, come back, and get to the side. Now, when you transition, the hand that is closest to you will be the one that goes over the head. Okay, so meaning that if this is where we're at, this hand goes over the head, this hand goes underneath. Okay, remember, if we try to do it the other way, this is a backing out situation. So you can back out right here pretty easily. But if we're here, the back out is into me, so they can't do it. So your first thought in that transition is, can't let them choke, okay? So that means this hand right here. So when you come down and you're in turtle, so imagine I'm in turtle, whatever side they go to, that should be the side that you block with your hand, all right? So what I mean is if they go to that side, right, this opposite side hand should be here up on their neck, so that if they do try to go in for a choke, you're going to catch their arm or their hand before they come in, okay? And if they go to the other side, same thing. This hand comes over like this and blocks, okay? So you don't need both hands to block when they're on one side. You just need one. And the hand that you block with is the opposite from the one they're on. So again, if he comes around and comes to the left side, or the side that I like, this is the left side, I'm on the left side. If he comes to the left side, you block with your right hand in your left neck area, and that allows you to have the ability to post up with your other hand. Okay, if he blocks, it goes to the other side, you block with the other hand. So it's just a matter of choosing which hand to block with. If I block here, I can pull this hand out. If I block here, then this hand's already free. It's fine. So you're just thinking about where you're blocking the choke from. It's going to be the side that your opponent's on. They're on that side, block the choke here. They're on that side, block the choke there. Okay? Always be blocking the choke. All right. Now the second thing, or the next thing we're going to talk, or the next thing that your opponent wants to do besides get this, is he's going to get this hand posted somewhere on this side to block your movements. All right? And this is what we actually want them to do. There are two options your opponent has. Every move in Jiu-Jitsu has some sort of counter or some sort of potential counter. So remember, if I try to grab his wrist, because this is a common counter for wrestlers, is reach in and grab this wrist and hold it, then there's a roll that can be done to get the to take the to roll the opponent over and end up in judo side control. Right? Remember, it's trapping the arm and rolling over. So what most people will tend to do is they'll post this hand inside the legs like this, because that's the sit out part that we're trying to block. Okay, so this is where we want them to be to start our first attack, which is a kimura from the bottom. Okay, so we're going to start with the one that we know. So Bob's going to be on top of me. And I'm going to put him on the other side, so we're all going from the same side. Okay, so Bob's on the side like this. All right, and remember, I'm blocking with this hand right here. Okay, and it's going to be harder because his arms aren't very long and I'm kind of a big guy. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach across and grab his hand, because his hand should be here, right? So I should be able to defend and then drop this shoulder to grab a hand. In this case, Bob's hand will be here. So let's see if I can get it adjusted here correctly. Come on, Bob, work with me. Okay. So I'm just going to go with this sleeve. So imagine I'm grabbing a wrist. I could grab the sleeve here, but imagine I'm grabbing the wrist. And I'm actually like this. So I'm defending the choke, I'm reaching across and grabbing the hand. So I'm going to pull the hand in as much as I can, and then I'm going to drop this shoulder. Once I've dropped the shoulder, now I can start to rotate. Now I'm not worried about the choke. I can reach and grab the arm. And then what I'm going to do is this top leg is going to reach back and grab that leg to keep them from rolling forward, because they can. An easy way to get out of this is to actually like roll over their head. And so now I'm just here like this, and I rotate and rotate until I'm ready to finish this kimura like that. Okay, so the leg catch here is real important to keep them from rolling, right? But if they know that it's coming and they feel like they've lost the position already, they may preemptively roll, and that's okay, because you can still work to finish this move from the regular kimura position. Okay, and I'll show that in just a minute. Okay, so one more time. Bob here, he's on my back like you would. The overhook is over the head here. The underhook is so awkward. Is across my back like this, and he's trying to punch down into my my leg. And so I'm going to drop this hand down so I can grab that, and I'm going to have this hand already here. So ideally, I'm already on my elbows. And the only reason why I didn't start there is because this is hard to grab otherwise. And so I'm blocking, I drop, I'm holding this wrist, I'm holding till I get past where he can get the choke in, and then I grab this leg and swing that around. Now I'm ready for my kimura position from here, and I finish that kimura from there. Okay, so that is a kimura from turtle. And like I said, some people, when they feel this wrist starting to go, they realize, oh, hey, I'm not going to be able to get out of this. And so they flip themselves over, right? So if they flip themselves over, it's going to be hard because I have so little space here. He's going to roll like this. Like that. Okay, that's how you get out of a move like this, but I'm gonna still have this. So I'm actually gonna be here already like this. And so I can use this position to start to lift them up and go for my own kimura, step over the head, go for that kimura from there, okay? So the defense, right? So I've already showed you the two parts to that. If you're the guy on top, you're going for that leg press to open them up, like we showed. Then they go for that kimura, and you know it's coming, so you flip over, so you're not in a bad way. Now they've held that kimura position all the way up to here. What do? All right? So I've gone over this before, but it's always good to go over again and again and again and again. Because if you don't know off the top of your head, then that's what we're here for. So normally when you're in a kimura position, right, your opponent has your arm like this. Okay, and what their intention is to bring this arm over your back, down, and then rotate your shoulder this way. It's a shoulder lock where you're trying to rotate their shoulder past where it's supposed to go, okay? So when you get to this position, the first thing you should be thinking is, I need to keep them from doing that, because if I don't grab onto something, then he's just gonna go and swing it around because it's 2-on-1. He's just gonna control this arm. There's nothing I can do to help control this arm. The best I have is try to get this real tight up against my body, but his arm's already in there, so it's real hard to keep that tight. And it's real easy for him to swing this arm out, around, and then back down, and there's your end of your match, kimura. Could be end of your life. That's why we practice this stuff. So always, always, always think, I need to defend myself. First part, I could grab my gi. The gi is real hard to get off of when someone's trying to kimura you, okay? Because you're basically pulling against your opponent when you're doing that. Okay, your second best, which in my opinion is a little bit better just because it gives you more room to move in, is your own hands, okay? So remember, when you defend hand to hand on the bottom from a kimura, this palm faces you. All right, this palm faces down, and then when you put them together, they sort of face this one. The back of this palm is at your face, and the palm of this is at your face. So it's all kind of pointed toward your face once you get it all in there correctly. Now, the reason I like this better than this is because, well, number one, there's a reason why a good kimura person will pin this arm down. So like a lot of times the kimura guy will pin this arm down so you can't get it out. So you still need to figure out how to get that off. And because this is the best. Again, that's because if I'm holding here, see how little room I have to move, but if I'm holding here, see how much more room I have to move off of this hand position, and it's still strong. It's always strong, okay? And again, if you try to do it the other way, so if you try to turn your palm away, first of all, your palm's gonna feel weird when you do that. And then when you go to grab, your hand's kind of in the direction that they want to move. Sometimes they want to go this way with it and then lift it up and come around, right? So if my palm's already here, it's going to be real easy for them to rotate this out and come around. But if my palm's here, one, it's going to be hard for them to go this way because I can pull this in with this hand. And two, they can't really pull this way either because I've got this hand hooked here and I've got this hand hooked here. So it's much stronger than trying to do this move here. This move is definitely not as strong, and you'll feel that if you go for this. So I'm always like this. I'm always here like this, holding. Okay. Now that's how you slow them down. That's how you can't. If a person is good at kimura, they will not stop there. They will keep going. So you're here like this, and they will keep going. Now, this is my favorite move to do in these kimura situations, which makes me difficult to submit. And it's not a big move. It's a really small move. What you're going to do is you're going to spin onto your back. You're not going to roll onto your back. It doesn't look like this. It's not a roll onto your back. All right, you're not gonna be able to do that. If your opponent has you correctly, they got their leg behind your back and they got this arm in, and they're trying to pull on this and get this, you're not just gonna be able to roll because you're gonna run into their knees. All right, this is a spin in place. And how you do it is you put this foot on the ground, you bump yourself up just a little bit so you can slide your butt underneath where you were. Okay, and it looks just like this. So I'm here, boom. So I did that. I didn't even need a whole lot of room. I'm a big guy. I don't generally move too quickly, but there are certain times when it works best if I do move quickly. All right, so where's my head at? My head's at about where Bob's foot is right here. So if I do this right, I put this foot down, I've got all this tied in like this, I'm gonna bump up and see my head still where Bob's foot is. If I were there where Bob's foot is and I roll over, see how much farther I am away from Bob's foot? So that's the main difference. It's not a rollover, it's a twist. It's like a bump twist in the middle, okay? Now, that's not the only thing you have to do though. Because if you just try to do that, your arm stays there, it's not gonna quite work the way you want it to, all right? What you then have to do also is you have to slide this arm out and down, all right? So together it looks like this. All right, so my first move was the spin, and then my second move was the rotation like this. So notice here my elbow's down, and this elbow's up, and I'm gonna take that elbow as I come and bring it around, all right? So what you're doing is, if you can imagine, there is an arm over the back of my arm, wrapped around the back of my arm. And then there's another arm on my wrist right here, and it wants to push my wrist this way. So their arm and chest are up here. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get that elbow past the arm that's over my arm. And to do that, as I come around, if I pull this down and out, it will almost 100% of the time get to that position, okay? And it is a little more difficult when they're pinning your arm. And if you were here, it would still be a little more difficult because you can't really do that. This works real well when you got your hands together. But so what I like to do is, first thing I'll do if somebody pins this down, right, is I'll grab my lapel. And then once my lapel's grabbed, now they're trying to futz with this. And when they futz with it, I'm pulling this arm out till I get that arm out. And once that arm's out, then I replace. Now I'm ready to go, okay? If they go for my kimura and I'm down here on my belt and they're pulling on it, that's a little farther, but eventually I can get my arm out and then I replace. Same with the inside of my leg. If they grab the inside, if I got the inside of my leg like this, I'm grabbing my pants on the inside of my leg and I'm holding here and they're trying to pull my arm off, I'm gonna get this arm out and then grab that wrist and get my position here like this. And then, you know, they'll still keep trying and then I can do my move. So one more time, moves like this. Post, little bridge like this. It's not much at all. It's like a hop. I don't have to get up that high, right? Just enough to get my hip off the ground, and I'm going to spin myself underneath me, and I'm going to pull my elbow down like this, okay? So just to kind of recap everything up to this point, part one is the kimura from the turtle, all right? So that works similarly to the roll that we did before. Let's see if we can get Bob. He's not going to be that cooperative today. So frustrating. Okay. So again, Bob's on top of me. I'm using this hand to defend. Okay. And I may move my hand down here, but just pretend like your hand's here. And then I use this hand to grab. This hand grabs underneath. Okay. So I'm going to feed this arm. Come on, Bob. Work with me here. To this hand. All right. So This hand's gonna go here. I'm gonna block the choke. Then I'm going to come around, go right for that kimura, grabbing that foot if I can, finishing the kimura from the bottom, okay? And if my opponent flips instead, come up for your kimura, okay? All right, so that is, and then the defense is if it's you who get kimura'd. Okay. So this next part is going to be the knee bar. All right. This one's going to be a little trickier, I think, but I'll do my best. So when your opponent is in turtle position, another way that we can keep your opponent from sitting out on you is using this knee to pin the back of the calf. All right. You can do it this way, or if I get this foot inside, I can do it this way. So I'm sitting on their foot like this with this knee inside, okay? This is a way to keep them from sitting out. This is a way, and the staple, so where I'm here like this, and this is a way, all right? But both of these ways make it so that my leg can be reached underneath and through, okay? So the way the knee bar works is Bob is gonna reach through and he's gonna grab my knee and he's gonna roll with my knee, all right? And with this move, he actually wants to grab with the same side. Because if he grabs with the opposite side, he's going to try to roll into me. Whereas with the same side, he's going to roll away from me. And it's going to be much easier to come up with my leg to finish the move. Plus, you want the non-knee barred leg on the bottom, ideally. So again, my leg is pinned here, okay, on his thigh. He's going to come through on the same side, and he's going to reach through. Now, sometimes it's not easy to reach through. Sometimes, but if we're doing turtle, I'm probably forward a little bit, so it'll actually be easier to reach through. If I'm back too far, I don't really have any pressure on the guy, and it's actually pretty easy to sit through on the other side, right? So I'm going to reach through, and I'm going to grab that leg, and then I'm going to just roll, and when I roll, that leg's going to end up in between my legs, okay? So again, hopefully I can do this justice, because in some situations, the dummy works real well, and in some situations, a dummy is not anywhere near ideal. So, so we're just going to do our best with what we have. Hold on a second. Got a computer thing here. Okay. All right. So this scenario, he's going to be on my back, just like he was before, but this time, this leg here is going to be over my leg and behind. Okay, so we'll just assume he's coupled my leg, so that'll be easiest to show. Okay, so scoot back a little bit, give myself a little more rolling room here. All right, so remember, he's on my right side. He's on this side, so that's the shoulder. I'm going to go down into to grab his knee. Okay, so I'm here. I'm going to go tuck down into grab his knee. When I roll over, it's right there. And I can put my feet together, knee bar. I can reach across like this and get that knee in that position. Super, super easy knee bar. And like I said, it can be done, but it can only happen if your opponent tries to pin your leg or tries to scoop at your leg, okay? There's actually a position in 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu called the dog fight. And if you don't have control of the body, the knee bar is also there because it requires an if you have the overhook. Okay, so let me show you this one more time just so you can see how easy it is to attack. And then I'll show you that from the dog fight because that's a good position too. And show you how that's exactly the same. Show you how that's the same. All right. So Bob's on top of me. Come on, Bob. Maybe I should call him Bernie. Have you ever seen Weekend at Bernie's? So Bob's on top of me. His knee is through. He's going for something. So I reach through. Make sure his knee's there. Nope, it's not. Okay. All right. So I duck and reach through. Grab his leg. And then boom, there's the knee bar. Now to finish a knee bar, there are a couple of different ways to finish a knee bar. All right. Way number one is a little bit farther out. You squeeze the knee in between your knees. You're out here like this, and you extend and pull. Okay, that's one way to finish the knee bar. All right. The second way to finish the knee bar is up close. So I'm here like this. I'm going to grab the back of the shin like so. And actually, you want to go on the instep side because that's the way you're going to turn. Just trying to remember. Yeah. No, I think you want to go on the outside because if you're controlling this correctly, you're gonna be pushing up on the heel, and the only way they can go then is away from you. But that's okay because if they try to go away from you, then you can reach underneath like this and do this knee bar. All right. So I can do this one here. I can grab and I can extend. That one's not always successful. So I may come around like this and grab that there. And then the knee's coming across my thigh and I can extend that way as well. So those are your knee bars. Now, to get out of a knee bar, most people, the first thing they'll do is they'll figure four their legs together. So if my legs are figured forward like this, I can't get this foot. I'm in a knee bar position. The legs are figured forward. I can't get this foot. But I can grab this foot and I can pop that one off and then clear it and then start to go for it. Or I can try to untangle these either way. But I mean, if he puts this foot underneath that one, thinking that'll be defense, it won't be, because then I can still just finish here. So again, figure four. Now the other thing that you have to be able to do is also the butt push. So this foot right here, this is why if you're laying on your opponent's leg, like I was originally, is much more useful than being on the same side, okay? A lot of people will fall to the same side as the leg, and that's not wrong. It's just, it gives me a way to try to get out, which is I put my foot on, your opponent puts your foot on their butt, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to push themselves down with their foot and push you away, and they're trying to get their leg out of there. And once the knee, which is there, gets past like that, there's no more knee bar, right? I have to have the knee here like this in order to a knee bar. Now, knee bars aren't very dangerous, all right? In fact, once you're out of white belt, knee bars are perfectly legal. So if you're going to be a competitor, just knowing that they're going to come up real quick is probably a good thing. They're not necessarily the easiest to finish, But some guys, just get good at knee bars. And the reason why knee bars can be useful for a lot of people is because if you don't have good upper body strength to do arm attacks like kimuras and Americanas, and you don't have lanky arms to do neck attacks like darces and rear naked chokes and things like and guillotines and things like that, then the knee bar is going to be one of your better lower level options in terms of submissions. Okay, so the only way to get out of a knee bar is to try to change the angle. And if you change the angle, it's just like an arm bar. If I change the angle to where the knee goes up like this, I can actually try to push the knee up like that to try to hyperextend the kneecap through the leg like that instead. That's one thing I could do. It's a little harder, but I could also try to come up as well and readjust myself with the knee bar if that's the case. Okay. So when you do, so just see it back to to one of the entrances. This is going to be from dogfight. Okay. So when you go to dogfight is where I have one person has an underhook, one person has an overhook, and you're controlling, trying to control the person, and they're right next to you. Okay. So I'll show you the way I know how to get into a dogfight. So you're in half guard. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I've got this underhook, right? And I've got half guard here. So I'm controlling this. And so I'm going to get this underhook. And I'm going to come up, right? And I can grab this belt. This is a good option. Or if I've got a high underhook, I can grab the collar up here, right? You can tell this gi's too big for Joe or Bob. But what a lot of guys do to hold your opponent in place is they'll scoop up this foot. See how if they're sitting here and I'm up, I can scoop this foot. And I don't have to get it up too high. I just scoop the foot, and then when I come up to my knees off my arms, this leg comes out, and then this foot is underneath. Okay, this looks familiar, right? If Bob were here, this is just the position we just had, right? But instead of being right there, so now what Bob's going to do is he's going to use his poor position to shoot for that leg. Okay, so he's going to shoot the outside, this side over here. He's going to shoot it down, try to grab my leg, and he's going to roll. And remember, when he rolls like this, he gets my leg. He's going to pull my leg this way, and that's how he's going to end up, just like this. Okay. So that's from dogfight, but it's basically from turtle, what we just did. So dogfight is a variation of turtle, but it's usually a bit higher up. So it's overhooks and underhooks, overhooks to keep the back from being taken, to keep the hooks from going in. And then of course, if you get that overhook and you feel like it's gonna go, you can always reach down and grab for that knee bar. That's a very aggressive move for those of you paying attention again to my elements parts. These are both fire potential moves for you, making your elemental connections. If you're being aggressive and you're always going for the win, these are two moves that you can use to go for the win. The kimura is going to suit you better for white belts because it's legal in competition. But knowing the knee bar is there to go to is also good because it suits you for when you finally do get your blue belt, if you don't already have your blue belt, and that's competition you want to go into. Okay. So just to remind you the two. One was the kimura, where you are going to do like a roll I can't remember what it's called. There's like an actual name for it. Where you're gonna do a rollover, but instead you sit out, or you don't sit out, but you roll out. Well, it's more of a sit out. It is kind of a sit out to the kimura, and then the other move is the knee bar from that weakened knee position. Okay. And I showed you the defenses to the kimura and talked a little bit about the defenses to the knee bar. One of the main defenses to knee bar is that knowing that it's coming and making the appropriate adjustments as it's being landed. Not always too hard to see coming. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. Next week we will be doing top side, and I know I went over a bit of that already, but I'm gonna go over some more with you guys having to do with that, and preferably like how to get your hooks in, how to take the back, alternative positions you can shoot for besides the back, and create and go from there. So, and revisit some submissions that you can go for and different tricky ways to get into those. So, all right, everybody, have a good weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday.